Welcome to this week's Flipinar. Welcome to everyone that's on early. I'm a little late. I was actually talking to a young man in Cincinnati, and I told him I had to go ahead and get on board here. So we're going to get started. I'm gonna go ahead and share my.
Man, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead and share my screen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Boom. So tonight's topic, I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Tonight's topic, building motivated sellers list. What I'm basically going to go over just a technical, this will be a technical Flipinar where I'm going to go through ListSource and Melissa Data, which are two info brokers where you can pick up that information. At any point that you don't hear me, please let me know in the chat room, because I won't know, and I would have blabbed on and on. But again, tonight's topic, building motivated sellers list. If you're not aware, I am on YouTube a little bit at my channel, over 200 videos. You can access those at flipman.net. Obviously, if you're here, you probably went to flipinar.com. I call it a Flipinar because we discuss flipping real estate. Wholesaling is a form of flipping. We focus on no cash or credit, step by step. Been on here before. I have to go through a certain part of it that you probably heard before. So others that have not been here, they haven't. So I still like to try to keep that process, because this may be the first introduction for some. I forgot back on, what date was that? I guess the 17th of November, to give away the 2 free courses. So I'm going to make up for that tonight. So we're going to give away 4. People started just blowing me up afterwards. You forgot to give away the courses, but you all stopped asking questions. So, hey, it's time to go. And so I forgot. So, no, Darren, I can't hear you. I did hear you for a second.
What about now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So Darren is in Sacramento, and my partner in crime, the one who encouraged me to start doing these Flipinars. And so, but he's in Sacramento. You doing all right, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How was everything? How was your holidays?
Oh, it was great. It was great, man. Good to be alive. What about yourself?
Sir. It was awesome. I'm glad it's over. We can do some deals.
Yeah, we got a small window. It'll be back to lot time again. People don't like to do stuff around Christmas or whatever, but not really sellers and buyers, are just the administrative side of it. When you start talking about attorneys and title companies, they'll start to drag their feet a little bit at the end of the year. Everybody want to be off Christmas parties and whatnot, but whatever, we can still get deals done. I did one of my biggest deals last December. So, but anyway, so let's get into it. Get this little disclaimer out of the way. You're not going to make $10,000 a month or $1 a month if you don't do anything. Just something attorneys encourages us to at least mention. Wanted to mention this also. I was looking for my little funky logo, but I couldn't find that somewhere while I was late on this particular Flipinar. My triplenetcash.com got a student out in Arizona. He and I have been working on these 2 properties. Along with Darren, we've been working on stuff also. We're going to have some stuff to present here in the next, probably by the next Flipinar, he and I. But this one here, I just wanted to mention, we will pay a referral fee if you can help us locate a buyer for a Family Dollar in Wisconsin and one in Ohio. The one in Wisconsin, I think I put out there $10,000 as a referral fee for a buyer. The one in Ohio to be $7,500. So if you're interested in that, you can go to triplenetcash.com. You can call or text me at the number you see here on the screen. Just wanted to mention that. All right. So as I said, going to give away 4 free courses this week. Forgot to give away the 2 weeks ago. Darren wasn't on the call, so he wasn't here to remind me. I got off here so fast or whatever, but it is what it is. So we'll just make it up this week. So it'll be 4 free courses given away. It comes with no coaching though now. So wholesaling the housing apartments, get the whole shebang on those. All right. Want to mention site I'm affiliated with, the service I'm affiliated with. This is my site to lead you to the service. But if you're looking for private money lenders, a list of those along with a cash buyers list, a lot of you all are here because of that now, because you got it on my text list, privatemoneylist.net. So you can get those at privatemoneylist.net. You'll see my man Keith. He'll go through the presentation. He explains it a lot better than I can. This is actual service. He's the one that's gotten the most results, but Darren and I actually use the proof of funds to get 6 and 7 figure properties under contract. So the private money list has paid off dividends just with the contacts and, the cash buyer list. It is what it is. It's such a huge list, and it's based on city by city. So some cities may not be there, but for the private money, it doesn't matter where you are. They have a nationwide list also along with individual cities. So privatemoneylist.net. Again, some of you have already been there. That's why you're probably on this webinar right now. Okay. I think I'm going to bypass this part of it because I mentioned those 2 family dollars. So I think I'll just bypass this part of it for this week. If you're interested in getting into the commercial side of it, you can just go to flipthisbuilding.com. Obviously, you can make money with wholesaling houses. You can also make money wholesaling single tenant buildings. Commercial is vast. We focus on triple net opportunities. Those are your Walgreens, Starbucks, Advanced Auto Parts, Family Dollar, Dollar General, Burger King. It just goes Wendy's. Darren and I are doing a deal on the Wendy's right now out in the Tennessee area. But flipthisbuilding.com, you can get in the game also. I teach you how you don't have to have any money, any credit to put deals under contract. You will not believe it, but it's real. Darren can confess to that. It is real. Everybody won't, but enough will when it comes to negotiations. All you have to do is make an offer. Either they take it or they leave it. You move on to the next individual. There's plenty of opportunity out there when you're dealing with commercial. You're not just dealing with your market, you're dealing with the entire country. It's a sea of opportunity out there. 2017 is going to be ridiculous. This year will be my best year ever. Not sure about Darren's best year ever, but I know it's probably my best year ever, especially on the commercial side of it. So if you're interested in getting that side of the game, flipthisbuilding.com. All right, my goal here tonight, if you don't know anything about real estate or you've been slamming deals left and right, my goal here tonight is to introduce you to the process of wholesaling real estate, houses and or multifamily, which are apartments, and commercial. But what is wholesaling? Most people, if you walk up to 10 people, 9 of them are not going to know what you're talking about. As much as this is out on the internet, people still, I guess everybody retains information differently, but they still don't get the simplicity of it. I'm not saying it's easy, but the simplicity of it. What wholesaling basically is you're locating a great deal, controlling it with the contract, advertising it, attracting cash buyers, and they basically buy your contract. That's in a street definition of it. To get a little bit more technical, you locate a property based on either your advertising and or research. Seller calls you or you call a seller. You and the seller agree on a price based on what the house would possibly sell for on your end Also taking into account the repair cost along with what you think you want to make on it. That's how you're going to negotiate your deal. All right, you go out and view the property, everything checks out. You and the seller would then sign a purchase and sales agreement. All real estate transactions start with that. Whether it's a $10,000 property or a $10 million property, they all start with a purchase and sales agreement or a contract. Okay, once you have that property on the contract, you don't own it by no means, but you do have a certain amount of control as far as any type of transaction in the form of a sale going on through that property. So you then now advertise this pile of cash, which is equity in the property. Buyers will then call you if it's a great deal. Your market will let you tell you if you're doing an effective job of advertising, online and off in some cases. Your market will let you know whether you have a deal or not. It'll be obvious. You know, if you're getting calls, people are going out to take a look at it, and you're not getting the price that you want. In most cases, you haven't negotiated an attractive enough deal for that property within that certain part of your market. But assuming that you did have a property under contract and a buyer did step to you with a price higher than your contract, because you're going to advertise it at a higher price than the contract price that you have with your seller. Just as an example, you may have it on the contract for $50,000, but you advertise it at $69,500. A buyer steps to you and say, "Hey, I won't pay $69,500, but will you accept $62,000?" Me, I'm accepting the $62,000 because that's a $12,000 difference between contract A and contract B. You place the property on the contract with your buyer for $62,000. Now you have a contract A for $50,000 with the seller, contract B for $62,000 with your buyer. You go to close, you make $12,000, seller gets their $50,000, buyer takes possession of the house. You move on to the next deal. That's a wholesale deal. So you ask yourself, is this something that I should be doing? Well, a student of mine in Memphis, Tennessee, which I have a video on my YouTube channel, he advertised on Craigslist that he buys houses. He got a call, and I haven't even been this fortunate. Maybe I've done it enough, but it was a deal. Long story short, he put up a $10 earnest money deposit on the property. The sellers were about to move to Dallas. They bought an investment property, put a little money in it. They know they were not going to be able to sell the property. Do anything with the property because they were about to relocate. So at the end of the day, he made $6,444.40. If you do your ROI, which means return on investment, it's over 64,344%. That's like an infinite number. It's because you virtually had zero invested with $10. $10 is close to zero as you could possibly get in my mind. And you made $6,444, just like it fell out of the sky. Okay, so is this something you should be doing? All right, most people will ask the question, well, will it work in my city? All right, just in this situation with my Memphis student, couple needed to relocate. Do people relocate from your city? Do people get divorced? Do people die? Do people lose their jobs? Do people get sick with a huge amount of medical bills? Do people have kids that are going off to college or grandkids that they don't have the money for the tuition? Are people tired of being a landlord? It goes on and on. Those are reasons that people will be motivated that you can make this amount of money and a lot more on a deal. Who am I? My name is Ty Taylor, but I believe in branding, and I don't know what made me come up with the name Flip Man, but I did. But before I so-called became the Flip Man, I was an entrepreneur, worked a regular job like many of you do now. I'm not sure at what point the entrepreneur bug hit me, but it was in my early 20s. I'm not one of these kids, as I said before, that was selling lemonade on the corner when I was 12 years old or 9 or nothing like that. The only thing I cared about at those ages was playing basketball, playing football, and chasing the female perspective. That's the only thing I cared about at that time, and that really lasted up until I got into college. And I don't even know where it came from. But with that being said, while in college, I had the brilliant idea I was going to take student loan money and buy used cars and become a millionaire. Okay, one problem. I had got a dealer's license, was going to dealer auctions, had a little cash to spend. But one problem, as I said, you really need to be highly mechanically inclined when you go to those auctions, because they will make a 10-year-old used car look brand new right off the assembly line. But it'll be a piece of junk. But you don't know that until you're 30 miles down the road and it's blowing smoke out the rear. So I lost my hat in that and got out of that. So 1995, started a mobile car wash business. Bought a used van for about $900. It was baby blue. Bought a 100-gallon water tank. Bought a pressure washer. Hey, I was in business, going to places of employment, the barber shops, outside of hair salons, and I was doing it. Me, my cousin, and a friend of ours, we were out there getting it. And so it was okay in the summer, even though it was in the high 90s, even got over 100 sometimes. I'm in the dirty South, so it gets hot here, but I'm used to that. But when the winter, when it starts to get fall and winter and you wake up and it's 30 degrees, 35 degrees, 40 degrees, that's cold here to us. That water doesn't feel good on you. So I couldn't do that anymore. So got into some network marketing stuff. The last thing that I was in, and I was never successful in because I'm not a salesperson. I know it may seem that way, but I'm really an introvert. I deal with people just because I like to eat. And I prefer to do that than to work on a job. So I know I have to communicate, but I'm not a networker. If I go to I would encourage anyone to go to their RIA meetings, their real estate investment clubs in their market. When I used to go to the meetings, it was doing me no good because I would show up, listen to what they had to say, which wasn't, anything that I was really learning. Not that I know everything, it's just I wasn't learning anything. But the main reason you go is so you can network with like-minded people by possible deal makers in your market. But I'm not the type of person just to walk up to someone and say, hi, my name is Tyrone, blah, 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 or whatever. I don't even meet women that way. I meet women, just over my past out of consequence, because we have to talk to each other, not because I've approached you. So with that being said, those are my weaknesses as a person. I know I can do this. Anybody can do that. The reason I'm bringing all that stuff up is that people that do have those networking skills are not afraid to pick up the phone or to confront someone face to face just out of the blue without knowing them. You have a huge, huge advantage over me. But for those of you that are like me, that won't stop you from doing this business. You just have to go about it a little differently. And that's basically how I set up my course, to go about it if you have those type of struggles. So I'm no smarter than you are. From Bama, even I'm in Birmingham, which is the largest city in the state of Alabama, but I'm from one of the smallest towns in the state of Alabama. We grew up there from age 0 to 18 until I went off to college. Town, I looked at the population the other day of the town that I'm from. It's 548 people, which I was there over the holidays. Matter of fact, my cell phone doesn't even work there when I go home. It's just like I'm out on a desert, in a desert island or something, when I'm there. So, but my point is that I can do it, you can do it. That's the only point that I'm making. But after 13 plus years, almost 14 now, as of next month is when I actually started back in 2003. So I guess technically it's 14 years now. But what I discovered the hard way, but you get an opportunity to cheat all of that because I give it to you for free. Most of us, we think we need tons of money to start. So wrong, but you don't know, and I'll go through that. I learned this from Ket the other day, but You think you need tons of money to start? You don't. You don't. So, man, this business is not a lot of opportunities where you can take a few $100s and turn it into a ridiculous amount of money very quickly. Wasting time thinking you need a real estate license. That's one of the most common questions that I get. I have people call me and say, hey, I'm going through realtor school right now. I'm not learning any of this stuff. They don't teach you how to be an investor. They teach you how to be a real estate agent. That's a totally different ballgame. Now, you have real estate agents that are investors, but it doesn't come from them being an agent. It just comes from them wanting more out of real estate than just picking up a 6% commission. And you don't even get all of that. You normally have to split it with another agent / broker. And then if you're under a broker, you have to split it more. And then all the fees associated with just remaining to the as an agent. A lot of people like, hey, they have to wait till they figure it out. Get called out of town and not putting you down. But people say, hey, I've been studying real estate for a year, 2 years, 3, 4. I'm like, wow, I learned this stuff in 3 weeks and was in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's hard for me to relate to that. 3 weeks, it really wouldn't have took that long if I didn't know I needed to go through all of those courses. I forgot to tell you how I got into real estate. Let me go back to that because some of you all don't know. I was talking about not network marketing out there, the car wash stuff, and I was in prepaid legal, which is now Legal Shield, I think it's called. And a friend of mine who is now, he and his now wife, they were going to school to become agents, real estate agents. And the guy that normally showed up for, that taught the class, he wasn't there. And the guy that substituted, he didn't talk about being an agent. He talked about investing in real estate and creative ways of investing in real estate with no money down. All right, so my friend shared some of that information with me because he know I had an entrepreneurial mindset. And so I listened to it and it sounded interesting, but I didn't act on it. That was in October of 2002. So a couple of months later, I was in that small town that I just mentioned of less than 1,000 people, at my mom's house waiting for her to prepare breakfast. It was a couple of days after Christmas. And I saw one of Carter Sheets' no money down infomercials. Caught it about halfway through the infomercial. I said, well, let me find one that's going from A to Z, which I had already seen them before. But, and they're not telling you anything, but, just interviewing this paper. I made $15,000. I made $100,000. Now, they're not telling you, yeah, you made the money, but how did you make the money? So at that time, my mom didn't have internet. And so when I got back to Birmingham, I went to this entrepreneur message board that I used to frequent. It was called ablake.net. I'm not sure if it's still up, but I'm gonna check that whenever this webinar is over. But and I asked the question: does Carter Sheets' program really work? Only one person replied, and he said, yes, it does, but Ron LeGrand's course is better. So I did a search for Ron's course, and it was $1,500 and a lot of money at that time, a lot of money now, but it was definitely a lot of money for me back then. So I didn't have it. So I searched around on the site and they had a condensed version of the course for $69.99, $80 with shipping. So I received that. It was in cassette tape form. So this is how long it's been. That information was from like 1997 that I was listening to, and it was 2003. And so I listened to the information. All it was just hype information, just teasing you. It made sense, but not enough information to move forward. So I made up in my mind, if I had to get a second job, I would say that $1,500. So a couple of days later, I thought about eBay. And I said, hey, maybe someone's trying to sell this course on eBay. So I went there and they were. And so I bid it on an auction, lost the auction. And the guy that was running the auction hit me up by email, actually, that I wanted a burnt version of the course. Back then, I guess you could do that with eBay. And so we agreed on $400. Bam, I got it, within probably a week, started listening to it. I went from zero, not knowing anything about real estate, to just information overload. I learned about wholesaling, retailing, which is flipping houses, buy, fix, flip. Lease options, subject to, for sale by owner. I think he had a module in there called that. Man, I didn't know what I didn't know. It was just too much information. But if I didn't get anything out of it, what attracted me the most was wholesaling, number one, maybe lease options, number two, and I understood that bandit signs could be the key for me overcoming a lot of my, faults or negatives as a human being as far as wanting to reach out to people for business. And so I bought a set of bandit signs. I overpaid for them. It was 250 signs. It was 50 signs. I spent $250, which is drastically overpaid for. You can get a lot of signs for $250, but I didn't know any better. Put them out on a Sunday. I got them on a Friday, and I put them out on a Sunday morning, started getting calls. The first two calls that I received were deals. One of them was a lease option opportunity. The second one was a wholesale opportunity. The lease option opportunity seller, mom passed, and I didn't know enough to know that he owed more than what made sense as far as a wholesale deal, but a lease option, he couldn't make the payments anymore. So I advertised to put it in the contract as a lease with an option to purchase, put it in the contract, advertised it. This lady responded. She said she had $5,000 to put down on it. I met her in Old Charlie's on Center Point Parkway, which most of you from the Ham know where that is. Well, it used to be. It used to be Old Charlie. I think it's a Mexican restaurant now on top of the hill by, Chick-fil-A, gas station in between it. But anyway, gave me $5,000 sitting there right in Old Charlie. Wow. That was the most money I had in my hand ever outside of a tax return. And so, long story short, the house needed a few repairs, and the owner, he could do some handiwork. And so I told him that I could hook him up with the new tenant, because I explained the entire process with him, what I was going to do with it. And so he agreed to do the work for the lady, and she was going to pay him. So in that time frame, yes, this is live. Who is this? Juwanda or whatever. Yeah, this is live. This is live. And so, but anyway, so you might have made me lose my train of thought. So anyway, a long story short, I had a friend of mine, the owner of the property wanted to refi his property, and the guy that I worked with did mortgage loans on the side. And so I hooked them up. We just bartering service. I was trying to win for everybody. So he told, just out of just talk, he knew I had got the money from the lady, my friend did, so he mentioned it to the seller. And he thought that I should have given him half of the money or the majority of the money. So he was supposed to meet the lady at the house to discuss the repairs, and he came over there and cussed the lady out, told Tyrone didn't own this property, get off his property. I hadn't told this full story in a minute, so I'm telling. I guess feel like telling it tonight. And so the lady called me crying. I had already spent $700 of that $5,000. I was ready to bawl. But anyway, so she called me crying and said, told me what the guy said and what I said, whatever her name was. I said, I'll meet you right now. So I had to, replenish that $700. Now, it was my first deal now. So putting that $700 back, it sort of hurt me because, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't good timing, let me just say, but I knew I needed to give the lady her money back. So I told her, wherever you are right now, I'll meet you with your money. So I gave her her money back. So I called him, and he and I got into a heated discussion. We were cussing each other out, and my friend had told me that he was a minister, but he never mentioned that to me. Not that he had to, because it wasn't relevant to business. So I just said some disparaging things about him being a minister and shyster and stuff. And his last words to me, if I ever see you, it won't be pretty. So that was the last word that we had with each other. All right, the other call that I got was a set of sisters. They inherited a property. Their mom passed, and they tried to rental business. They rented out to some relatives, and that went bad. So they were motivated to sell because they were tired of being landlord. Most people, when a parent dies or was inherited property, I'm not going to sell mama's house, blah, blah, blah. and stuff until you go through a few rentals, especially relatives, because relatives are the worst people to rent from because they're going to count your money and pay you when they want to pay you. And so, in most cases, not always, in most cases. So, anyway, so they called me. We agreed on $20,000. Went to the lady's house. I showed up in my 1985 Toyota convertible Celica, white. I love that car, but that was 2003. It was 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? But they actually thought, because I could talk the talk, they actually thought I had the money with me. And I explained to them it doesn't work that way. So anyway, we signed the contract. I advertised it, and a realtor called me, said he had a cash buyer, but he wanted to be compensated on my end. So I explained to him I was wholesaling the property, and so so I told him, I gave him I was transparent on the entitlement, so he wanted half of the money. So instead of me making $5,000, the contract was going to be for $25,000. Instead of me making $5,000, he ended up making $2,500 off the deal. Hey, that $2,500 was like $250,000 to me. So, one sec. But that was my first deal. So I just wanted to go back to that. Some of y'all hadn't heard that, so we get back here. So most people, you read books. It's not a lot of books out there that are going to be enough detail, in my opinion. I'm not a reader. I'm just going by what other people say. Normally, most books are upsells in most cases, normally. Obviously, you're working a job that you're not, that's keeping the lights on, and you got to do what you got to do. I don't encourage anyone to quit and just start just cold turkey or whatever. But because I was still working when I started here, but everybody has to make their own decisions. It's not something I'll tell you to do. But most people, you're here because you want to change that situation, which I like my job. I just wanted more. I was grateful for the income, because it was decent income. I'm making mid 40s, at that time, in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s. I was doing it, but I knew it was more out there than that. But anyway, people take pointless business classes in college. That's me. I got a BA in business administration. Had never ever made me a dime. I went to seminars. I never paid for a seminar, because even after I was doing deals, I was still going to a couple of seminars when they came to town, because I was always just looking for that extra edge as far as marketing. The process is the same of putting a deal together when you're talking about wholesale. I was just trying to look for something that I wasn't doing as far as marketing. And then some people, you just get information from me, you get it from this guy, and it's just information overload. You just got to take action at the end of the day. I don't care how much information you've acquired. So just wanted to mention this again before I get into the nuts and bolts of the Flippin'Art tonight and the topic. Wholesaling, housing, apartments, no coaching. We will give away 4 courses tonight, free. All right. Building motivated sellers list. All right. And we're talking about direct mail, whether it's postcards, yellow letters, or the way I teach my students to do it, which is a lot more efficient. The 2 main places that you can gather this information, these information brokers, is listsource.com and melissadata.com. I think I spelled Melissa right. But listsource.com and Melissa Data. All right, so tonight, what I'm going to do, we're not going to get into how you put the letters together. I'm just going to go through both sites and how I do it. Now, some of you all, this may be some good information. Some say, I already know how to do that. Fine, but you may want to stick around for an opportunity to win one of the free courses. So I'm assuming people want me to show them how I go through it in my mindset. Now, I'm more familiar with ListSource than Melissa Data, because that's just what I use. But I did feel around with it. I hadn't been on there in a while before I started this. So if it seems like I'm fumbling, I may be on Melissa Data. I'm more familiar with ListSource. Now, both of these, I buy lists maybe every 2 or 3 months. So but I think I'm a little bit more technical than that. So let me just pull this down, get over here to the internet. So we'll start with list source. I'm already logged in here. So you have to create an account if you don't already have one. So start right here. What you see, I have some lists already here built or whatever. Now, a couple of things about list source that I don't like. You have a minimum. You have to spend at least $50, and if you don't have a PayPal account, you want to use a credit or debit card, you have to try to call them. Their customer service is not that great. It may take them a couple of days to call you back. Now, that's the way it was when I tried, some time back. So they may have improved that. But if you're paying with PayPal, you get the list immediately. So just wanted to make you aware of that. All right, so we're in geography. So obviously, the first thing you want to do is choose how you're going to target properties. So I normally go by zip code. You don't have to do that. You see other options here. You can do county, city, or whatever. So I normally start with just zip code. So then you have to come down here and you choose your state. I'm gonna choose what I'm familiar with, which is Bama. You all are still with me, right? All right. All right, so I'm gonna choose a zip code, one of the hotter zip codes here. When it comes to investments, is 35215. Boom. All right, so it pulled up 13,287. That's the total list here. All right, so that's all the properties, probably. So what I'll do here is I'll go in here and string that down, and we'll do property type. So it pulls down another list, and then we'll go down here and do residential SFR. Now, one thing about list source and Melissa data, the information is only going to be pulled according to how the county that you're targeting provides it. So that may be totally different than what I'm doing right here. You may have to do residential other in your market, or you may have to do, I don't know, what else is here? Residential multifamily, residential townhouse, like if you're in Baltimore. So I don't know. But it's only going to be pulled based on how they provide the information. There's nothing, they're just information brokers, and they just pull their information down. So, and as you can see, this has already been reduced from 13,000 something to 11,000 something. So you go over here to demographics. I'm going to leave that the same. Household. I'm going to skip foreclosure. I'm going to go over here to options. Then I'm going to select absentee. All right, see, it reduced down from 11,000 something down to 1,762. All right, now this is in-state and out-of-state. So you can do both, and I normally go ahead and do both. And once I download the Excel spreadsheet, I'll just do a sort, and I'll do it by the seller's mailing address, not the property address, but the seller's mailing address. And I'll just go up there to the section with the state and select that. And since I'm in Alabama, I'll do from Z to A instead of A to Z. So it'll start with the W's and come back down. So if I wanted to target, out of state, I can just use that. So instead of just buying two lists, I can buy one list, and I can just sort that way once I actually download the list. I hope that makes sense to you. All right, it says trustee owned. I don't have a preference on there. That I like targeting trustee owned because a lot of times, those are properties that have went through the probate process, or someone put it in a trust. It could be a number of things. All right, corporate owned properties, I exclude those. Now, you may lose quite a few because some of those will be investors, but the reason I exclude them because you're going to have a lot of banks or foreclosures in there also. So you may want to create a separate list where you do only corporate, So just to give you a tip here, there's a lot of flexibility here. The way I'm doing it, you don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. Your goals may be a little different. You know, again, some people want a blueprint. I want to do it just like you do it. Yeah, that sounds good, but sometimes you have to tweak stuff based on what you know about your market that the flip man doesn't know about your market. That, like I say, with townhouses or row houses or whatever they call, like in Baltimore, if they're coded that way, then those are type of properties that you may have to target. You're targeting a specific zip code, so you have to have some flexibility there. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to build a house, but you may want to add some rooms in there or design it the way I wouldn't want to design it, but I can show you the starting process or how to develop a foundation. So just keep that in mind. I know that's what I do. I may learn something from someone and I put my own twist on it. I'm just going to normally do that. I know something brilliant when I see it, but I still may add something to it to fit what I know will help me accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. All right. So down here, you're going to hit both mailing and property address complete. So the reason that you do that is that you want to get the owner's mailing address, but you also want the property address included in the sheet that the list that you're going to download. So now I have the 1,762. So we're good. So that's my list. So just to take you back through that, I did the zip code. I did just one zip code. You go down here. If you already know them off the top of your head, get down and add it and it'll place it in there for you. Over here at property, I did property type right there. And then I did residential SFR, that's single family residence, and added that. And then over here, I did absentee. I included in-state and out-of-state. You don't have to do it that way. You can do one list for in-state. You can do another list for out-of-state. That's totally up to you. All right. And then trustee, I said no preference. Corporate owned, I said exclude. And then address completeness requirements, both mailing and property address. To go back over here to geography, you can do multiple zip codes. So I throw in 305. 209 over there. See, watch how this changes up here. See, there it takes it from 1,700 to 22 and some change, 2,200 and some change. So, so it's just a lot of flexibility here. So, the reason why I exclude the corporate owned is because, again, that may include banks. With foreclosure, I don't want to target those. I don't want to target those. I don't want to target those. Those are already being advertised through realtors. If I want to find a list of foreclosure, any realtor in your market will be happy to send you the whole list. So I don't need to waste. You understand that you are paying per piece, per address, per owner. I don't need to pay for stuff. I'm already going to pay for some stuff that's going to be junk. I don't need to knowingly pay for junk. You know what I'm saying? That I don't want the corporate. But again, I will miss some LLCs of some, investors that own properties. But a lot of times it's hard. I'll put it like this, and I may be wrong, and I don't have any data on this, just from experience more than anything. It's harder for me to get a great deal on someone that has a property listed on the LLC versus under their name. You see what I'm saying? It's just, they're a little bit more savvy. Investor, not that you're trying to take advantage of people, I'm just telling it is what it is, versus someone just has a property in their name. You're just going to get better deals when people just have a property in their name. That's just how it is. All right, so right here, you go hit save criteria. So I'll name it. I'll just name it Dummy Flip Man. And boom. And then purchase list. Okay. All right. Now the total on this is $362.37. Oh, I don't want to spend that much time. I thought you said you can spend $50 to $60. Well, here's how you do it. You go here, suppression. All right. I'm sorry. A partial list first, and you put in there, say, hey, I only want to buy 500 leads. Recalculate. Boom, we're down to $80. So now we want to remove duplicates. Okay, so we're not any duplicates there. So boom, there you go. So $80.80. Well, someone may say that's still too much. So we'll take it down to 400. Recalculate. All right, 6405. And they may say it's still too much. So we'll go down to 350. Now it's not gonna let you go below 50. Now you got to spend at least $50. So there you go, $56. You can get it on down a little more, but you get the point. So now you have it. So, and I got to remember that on that duplicate because I can do something with that. So you want to continue to check out. All right, here's where it gets tricky again. Like I said, if you got PayPal, you can go ahead and pay for it, and boom, you'll get your list immediately. If you need a card, unless they've changed, it's going to take a minute to get it. All right, now that's list source. All right, so let's go over here to Melissa data. Let's see what old Melissa is talking about. Okay, so I'm still logged in. So I go up here to direct mail, hit property, scroll down here, list of property owners. So boom, I'm going to use that same zip code, 35215. All right, so property type, single family residence. Property value, you can if you want to. If you want to say 50 to 100,000, they're going to probably. I'm not sure if they base that on the tax value or the actual what they think. Probably base it on tax value. I'm pretty sure that's what they base it on. Assessed value as far as tax. Property description. If you only want to do a certain year built or number of beds and baths, whatever. That's totally up to you. You can do all of that. I don't normally mess with in there. Sales price on a certain sales price. So I guess that's what a property value and the sales price is. So you can put in there the houses that have only sold for I don't know, whatever thing. Then you put in here the last date that a property has sold. You can do that if you want. I normally don't, but you can do that also. So it gives you that mortgage amount. You can put it in here in zero. You can do that. And the reason I don't do all of this stuff is because transactions happen so fast. And I guess it's just going to be, again, this goes back to a preference thing, not the way the flip man does. I'm just giving you the foundation. It goes back to a preference thing more than anything. Mortgage date, you can just go back to mortgages that are 15 years old or 20 or 25 years old. Yeah, should be a lot of equity in those. All right, mortgage loan type, you can go in there. So, but I'm gonna remove all of those. All right, so boom, and then owner type. This is where you should be. So the main things I'm gonna do is single family residence and owner type. Now, if you're gonna try to look for multi-family or something, so it gives you all those options. But you did the same thing on list source, but this is a little bit more simpler than on list source as far as looking for multi-family, commercial or whatever. So owner type. So I'm doing absentee owners. You can do private owner without corporate, same thing as on list source. You can do out of counter owner, out of state owner, in county owners. Yeah, see, this gets a little bit more detailed than list source. So, hey, check it out. So there's a difference in the two services. You can do corporate only owners. So I said out, and then primary owners only without absentee. You can do that. So there you go. So the count on this one is 1,402. All right. So that's the price, 189.27. See, I don't think it gives you an option to reduce that amount. So you would have to go back in there if you're trying to be a little streamlined to try to reduce this amount. You may have to add sales price, mortgage type, number of bedrooms and baths. We'll just go ahead and do one of those just for the sake of trying to reduce this list down a little bit more. So we're going to say 3 bedrooms only, right? Let's see if that reduces it. It reduced it about not quite 300. 300. So let's do sales date. Let's do mortgage date. We'll just say it may take too long to do that. Let's go back to property description and let's do square footage. That should help us out a lot. Let's do square footage 1,500. All right, there you go. Now we got it down to 486. So boom. So now it's $70.47. So those are a couple of things. So those are the difference in the two services. So you go to the next step. Want me to log back in. So now it's you can name it. We'll just say dummy 2. You save the job or you can check out. And so, okay, there we go. It says the quantity right there. And so, boom, you can check out with a credit card or with PayPal, and there you go. So, let's go back over here. We're going to get to the question and answer period. I think I went through that good and well. We got a couple more things here. So, I went over creating, building a buyers, a motivated sellers list using ListSource and Melissa data. Most of you all are here because you want to, add on to your existing income, or you just want out of your job. The answer to that is 3 to 5 deals per month. Let's get to that 3 to 5 deals per month. Just from my experience, students' experience, if you want to accomplish that or more, you need to be talking to 3 to 5 sellers per day. You are a marketer in reality versus a wholesaler, in my opinion, if you're doing it the way the flip man does it. You want your phone ringing. So let's look at some just raw numbers. 1 deal per month. So that's 5,000 to 7,000 per deal. That's about a conservative number for most markets. Some markets you can make a lot more, but we're just going to use that as a conservative number. So 5,000 to 7,000 per deal. 12 deals a year, 1 deal per month. That's $60,000 to $84,000 per year. Most people can live off that, in America. That's a medium income in most markets. All right, let's do 2 deals a month, 5,000 to 7,000 per deal. That's 24 years, 120, 168. You're living above the poverty line in most markets. 5 deals per month. That's 5,000 to 7,000 per deal. That's 60 in a year, 300,000 to 420,000 a year. They know you're at the bank. Hey, Mr. Taylor, how you doing? I'm doing great. How are you today? Just a reminder, stick around after the question and answer period. Wholesaling houses, apartments, no coaching, 4 free courses I'm going to give on make up for the other 2 weeks. Yeah, that is staggering money, but there's a lot more money out there than that. That's the thing about it. That's a great bread, but there's a lot more money out there than that. There's deals out there that'll pay you that 1 deal. All right, so I want to go over some of the housekeeping. Need proof of funds? You can go to realpof.com to access that. Again, the privatemoneylist.net. You want a list of over 400 private money lenders, 40,000 cash buyers on that same list. I'm going to give away the free course tonight, but I did this last weekend and on Monday. I'm gonna have 1 spot left. Everybody filled the other spots, but you're going to be able to get all 3 courses for one price of $10.95. You're going to save $15.95 if you bought all 3 courses. The wholesaling house and apartment is normally $9.95. The regular price for the flipping commercial property is $16.95. You can get all 3 with unlimited coaching for $10.95. That's theflipman.com. You can get that at theflipman.com. So we're taking only 1 spot. That's theflipman.com. So we want to go ahead and Darren, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Yeah,
can
I'm
hear you.
here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so we're
Awesome.
going to go ahead and get into the question and answer part of the flipping daughter, and then we'll go ahead and award those 4 free courses after we've exalted all of these questions with hopefully answers that make sense.
All right, awesome. Let's get the questions coming in. Just type them into the chat box, and then Flipman take them. So, how'd everyone like that? Is a little look into the actual back end of it, how things are done, not just sitting looking at slides. I think is invaluable what you just learned. So go ahead and send any questions. You may have questions about this or anything about the wholesaling process. You know, you got Flipman's ear. You got it right now. You got to take advantage of it. If you're scared to ask some questions, you'll be scared to ask somebody to wholesale you their house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Y'all may notice on I went crazy with these graphics here. I found a little cute website, and I can make some beautiful letters. So if I've overdone it, just let me know that I've overdone it. You can see some of the thumbnails I have on the videos or whatever with these graphics. But hey, let me know if I'm overdoing that. But anyway, let's go with the question. Let's get it. Let's get it. I think the Cowboys come
all
on
right,
tonight.
it says it says how do you approach to get house under contract?
Well, in most cases, they're calling you. So you're already in the driver's seat. If you're doing an effective job of marketing, you're already in the driver's seat. They called you about selling a house, or if they have a house for sale, you're in the driver's seat. So they understand that the process starts with after you agree on a price, a contract needs to be placed on the property. Now, if a guy texts me today and asks me, someone wants $1,000 on a property that he want to put in a contract, I said that's probably not a deal. Motivated sellers don't talk like that. They just don't. So, I'm not sure what else to tell you. That's part of the process of putting it under contract once you negotiate an attractive price. But the first thing you have to understand, do I have an attractive price or not?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, HGTV is starting a show in my area. Will this hurt me? RO, is that TV market already dead, or is that TV market already dead?
A show doing what? You got to be a little bit more clear.
Flipping houses.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, man. If they can't buy all the houses, it doesn't matter. They can have 10 shows. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, as always, just tell them sort of how many numbers are being done, because I noticed that one guy said also that was an astonishing amount. That must have been aggressive to do monthly. Like, it's flippers out here. I know that like Sacramento area that do, in California, one of the hardest markets probably to do deals, and they're doing 20, 30 deals a month. So it's deals out there.
Deals everywhere, man. Deals are everywhere. I don't care where you are. Obviously, the bigger the city, the more opportunity. But deals are everywhere.
All right. And someone asked, so should you have a buyer before you find a property?
No, it's not hard to give away money. You find a great deal if it's $1 million, but if it worth $2 million, I can wholesale it quickly. So no, to answer your question, it's harder to find.
I imagine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's harder to find a deal. Focus on finding the deal. Finding a great deal, a buyer is not difficult to find.
Yeah, awesome. Next question. I imagine that this is 1099 income, correct? How do you ever have your own proof of funds?
Do I have my own proof of funds?
No. How do you ever, since this is 1099, how do you ever have proof of funds?
I'm not sure what the question. I don't understand that question.
Basically, they're saying how would you have proof of funds if it's not a reported income? Like if it's not a W-2 income, he's asking how would you have proof of funds? Like what is proof of funds? I guess.
Proof of funds can come in a lot of ways. A proof of funds could be someone saying, "Hey, I'll loan you the money," and they provide some type of document or contact information. That's proof of funds. It can come in all kinds of ways. It doesn't have to be your actual money. Just like the proof of funds that through realpof.com, you get an actual letter with an entity along with a bank statement to back up that entity. Darren and I use those proof of funds on commercial offers, weekly. So it does, it's all relative. It can come in all forms and fashions.
Okay, can proof of funds be a 401k?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they would.
You got a 401k, you need to buy one of these Family Dollars, or this,
Yeah.
or this Wendy's that me and Darren about to have. Get that.
Yeah, I
cash.
think people have to transfer them into a self-directed IRA, but that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
That's another ball game now. But to answer
Yeah.
your question.
Yes. Okay, and then Winston asks, have you ever used yellow letters? How well did they work for you?
I've used them before, but and they worked okay. It's all about being consistent, no matter what form of marketing you're doing, especially with direct mail. You have to say whatever your budget is, and you have to stick to it. Because once you close one deal, you're going to be able to fund your marketing for an entire year in most cases. But I teach my students to do it a little different because everybody's doing yellow letters and postcards. So I teach my students to be a little bit more efficient. But the most important thing is standing out from the rest, standing out from the rest of the people that are doing the same thing. Because just like I could buy that list, anybody can buy that list that I created on this source and I'm a list of data. You're not the only one doing it. So with anything, I try to stand out from what others are doing because there's nothing I'm doing that's original. I may put a twist on it, but it's probably nothing I'm doing original.
Right. Okay. How long do it take to do commercial deals to learn and then complete them? Eric asked.
You can look to 60 to 120 days.
Okay. Is that Troy asks, is that a one-time fee for the motivated sellers list?
Yeah. With list source, yeah, you buy as you go, you pay as you go. You only pay for what you need. Oh, wow.
All right. And then Cliff asks, is wholesaling illegal in any states?
No, it's not illegal in any state.
Okay. After attaining the list, what's the next marketing strategy? Yellow letters, postcard, bandit signs?
Again, you can do postcards, yellow letters, or the way I teach my students, all will work, but you need to be consistent on whatever method you choose to use. You need to be consistent with it as far as what your budget will allow.
Okay. Noticing that Melissa data was easier, it seems to be more expensive as well. What is a cheaper way for a limited budget?
I don't know a cheaper way than that if you're going to do direct mail outside of just riding around looking for vacant houses, doing research on them and mailing out. But normally that's going to take you a lot longer. But you may be fortunate the first letter you send out and it's a deal. But in retrospect, it's normally just going to take longer. But that's the cheapest way you could probably do it. But the list it allows you to streamline it. Now, I can't count someone's pocket. I don't know what your situation is or whatever, but we're talking about less than $100. You gotta do stuff that are outside of what you may be accustomed to doing. I know when I wanted to learn about this, I already had in my mind I was going to pick up a second job to come up with that $1,500. So I was just listening to a thing on something on the news the other day, and I know you can't believe everything here, but this makes sense. A lot of jobs that people a lot of employers, small business owners, they're having a hard time filling jobs that are what was the word that they used? I guess like restaurant jobs or just maybe some manual labor stuff. They say the influx of immigrants is not what it was 20 years ago, even though it may seem that way. But they say the numbers are way down. So a lot of those jobs that they may have done that we as Americans that have been here don't want to do. My point that I'm making, we're talking $100 for a list. We're probably talking another $300 for the mailings and your supplies and all of that. We're talking $400. If you have to pick up a second gig doing something, 4 or 5 hours, 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week, and it takes you a couple of months to save it, you have to make some sacrifice to do stuff. It just, not always, but you have to be willing. I was willing to do what it takes to save that money to try to better myself. I'm not preaching. I'm just telling you, it's too much opportunity out here to let a few $100s stop you from attaining some of it. It just is, just in my opinion, whatever. So
Yeah.
next question.
Yeah. Also, money is a renewable source. If you look at it, if you had a job all this time, you've been spending money your whole life or however long. It's a renewable thing. So if it costs you a few $100s now, you're gonna spend that few $100s anyway. So it's just about what you spend it on. So next question is, how can I get the information on the 2 Family Dollar locations to forward to potential buyers? Cortez asks.
Just text me. You see the number here on the screen. Just text me 205-492-3425.
All right. Have you ever been approached by the bandit police? LOL. Camelia said she was approached by, I guess, someone in the Orlando area. She said it was day laborers, and she was wondering if you ever been approached by them.
Well, this one particular part of my market, I won't name it. But anyway, I don't know where their boundaries start and stop as far as Birmingham and over into that municipality. And I put out some bandit signs years ago, and the mayor, they had just become a city of their own where they could vote and have a mayor and a own government. And the actual mayor called me, then the assistant to the mayor called me, and then the sheriff department called me. When the sheriff department called me, he was laughing. He said, "Man, please go out there and pull up them signs. They are worrying me, you know what, out of me." I said, "All right, man." So I went out there. It was one sign I had to go get. All right. So fast forward to this year. I don't know. I thought I was still within, the mark, in the city limits that I needed to be in, but I guess I wasn't. He called me. I don't know if it's the same mayor, but the mayor of that town, he called me again. He said, "He took him down, but please don't put him out." I said, "Sir, I told him not to put signs in your market, in your city." And I'm the one who put it up, but I told him not to do it. I guess people say, "Why are you still putting up signs?" I put up signs because I want them done right. And I don't do them as often as I do because I don't have the time. And then also, it's a humbling experience for me. And that's part of the why I do it, to try to keep grounded, I guess you say. I think I need it. Everybody go about things differently, but I just think I need it. So, but anyway, so to answer your question, yeah, that's about the extent of my experience with, I guess, bandit police.
All right. So if you're calling to put houses on a contract, what would be a good script?
If I'm calling to put a house on the contract?
Right. I guess after someone calls you.
I think, guys, you're overthinking that part of it. Once you and a seller discuss a property, you're not even talking about a contract. You're talking about a price. And once you agree on a price, they understand that you're going to have to go into a contract. If they don't, you will explain it to them. There's no script. You don't even get that far until you get to the point where you've agreed on a price that works. Now, obviously, you have to know what's a deal and what's not a deal. Most people, that's a difficult thing to figure out. But once it gets to the contract phase of it, then you'll have some people flip out or whatever. But you got to really, really understand that these people are motivated to sell, and they're going to do 95 to 100% of what you want them to do. And if they don't, you move on. It's just like if they don't want to let you put it on the contract, it's just like they gave you a price that doesn't work. You move on. Don't, you have to have the attitude. I don't care if you do the deal or you don't. There are more people out there that will. Everybody won't, but enough will. Next question.
All right, awesome. Cortez asked also. He said there's a sports authority vacant in his area. What can he do to get a start for a buyer?
There's more to it than that, man. You gotta know what else is around it. You have to know what the triple net comps are going for in that area. You gotta know the price that they're asking needs to be reasonable. With commercial, whereas with residential, you find and you negotiate a price that is the deal. With commercial, you create a deal. So depending on how much they're asking will vary. And the offer you make, then you have to submit an LOI. That has to get accepted. Then you have to go to contract because you'll sign an LOI with the terms that you want, and they'll sign it, and then they'll send you a contract for something totally different. Won't they, Darren?
They'll do it every day. It's business though. That's business. It's not. You can't take it personal. It's just you got to be just as thorough about it. So it's just
you got to be ready to walk. At any point, either they're going to want to do it your way. So after you get in the contract, then you got to find a tenant to commit to come in there. Then a buyer. So there's several steps to go in that. Then if it's a sports authority, it may be in a shopping center, and it may not be an actual single tenant building. It may just be I don't know. It's just too many variables that go into that, Cortez.
Okay, awesome. Another commercial question: do you ever just ever call up commercial real estate vacant lots that have been sitting for a while and offer a lowball offer to see if they just want to get her done?
Again, the other, there are plenty of vacant commercial buildings out there, but what you'll learn in the commercial, the way I teach it in the flipping vacant commercial buildings course is that it's more important what's around that vacant building. If it's sitting there vacant and every other building is vacant, you may can get it under contract and whatever. But as far as what I teach and what we do is that it needs to be in a very strong retail area, whether it's in the hood or it's in the higher end of town or anything in between. There need to be other thriving national tenants around it. McDonald's, Walmart, Burger King, Walgreens, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, Starbucks, Jack in the Box. I can just go on and on. You know what I'm saying? So all that factors in. It's just not that simple. I know we wish it was that simple, but it's just not that simple. There is a process, but it's worth it. It's worth it once you understand what the process is.
Okay, cool. Now, since the process can take a month or more, is it wise to have multiple deals working at the same time?
Whoever asked that, what do you think?
my 3-year-old nephew will tell you, two is always better than one.
Yeah, you want to have as many deals working as possible, as many as possible. If you can have 40 deals working at one time, you want to have 40 working at one time.
Yes, sir. That means you just have more opportunity for things to go right.
Yeah, more, exactly. I couldn't have said it better.
So if I find a property and put it under contract, what's the time limit to find a buyer? And if I don't find a buyer, will I be responsible to purchase the property?
No, you won't. Normally 30 days is enough for a residential property. If you can't find a buyer in that time frame, you probably haven't negotiated a deal attractive enough. It's really that simple. And so if you can't find a buyer in that time frame, You go back to the seller and ask them for more time, they give it to you. Go back to them, ask for more time, they don't. If they don't, they keep your earnest money, you move on, they move on.
All right. Do you think or have you had success marketing through website and internet? Are sellers looking online, or do you recommend local and direct marketing?
Well, all of that, all of those work. Direct mail marketing, banner signs, and online. Online is a different animal. Most people are not as technical or internet marketing savvy enough to make that for that to be effective. But yeah, you can. People are always looking online like they do for everything else. One of the first things people always do when they want to sell, buy something, they go online. No different with real estate. No different with real estate.
All right. What actions should you take first?
Educate yourself. Start marketing. Get your phone ringing. That's it. It's that simple.
Right. Nothing happens to education happens.
Doesn't happen
Who
to action. Doesn't happen to action now, man. You can be vague about what you're doing and maybe stumble into a deal, but you won't do that if you don't take action. But
right.
yeah, you want to educate yourself also, obviously.
Who is that doesn't mean take forever. That means learn something and put it into action. You can learn one thing, like he just taught you something right now. You can do Melissa Data list source right now. You know how to do it right now. You know how to do that part right now. So you can take action on it. You just got educated on that.
Yeah, this video will be up on YouTube by tomorrow. You know, you go back to it. You know, that's it. I went through exactly how I would do it. Now, again, I told you can be a little bit more creative than me. You may be smarter than me. Pretty sure you are. But you know, I just gave you the foundation. You can roll with it however you want at that point.
All right. Who is a real estate mogul you look up to?
Wow. I haven't. You know what? I'm gonna be very honest here. I have a guy that I look up to that many people don't even know exists, and I'm not even gonna share it because it is what it is. Hey, it'll just come, it'll just bleed through me. But to answer your question, nobody that most people are aware of, and he probably has more information. Or ain't no probably he has more information out there than I do. But for whatever reason, people don't follow him that much. I can just look at his following, and it amazes me. He's the smartest real estate person I've ever heard, and I'm just answering it. So I'm holding on to that.
Okay, how much is your coaching?
It's right here on the screen. You don't see the hey, you can't see that, Darren?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, we're giving you for the wholesaling houses and apartments. Regular price is $9.95. Flipping commercial property is $16.95. You got one spot available. You can go ahead to flipman.com. You save $15.95. You get all three with unlimited coaching. That's it. This information, unless you're going to school to be a doctor or an attorney, maybe an accountant, right? This information, not many professions you're going to be able to go into that's going to give you an opportunity to generate the money you can generate with these three courses. Period.
And if you're going to be a doctor or accountant or attorney, it's still not like it's still not like real estate investors that's at the top of their game. They make more money. Now maybe at the bottom, those bottom doctors, attorneys, they make more than real estate investors, but the guys that's really doing it, they don't. And most doctors, think about it, Ty, most doctors, if someone's a doctor or accountant or attorney, what are they looking to do? Invest in real estate. So you're starting where most people have to get to.
Exactly.
So
exactly. And like attorneys can exceed real estate only because of lawsuits. You know what I'm saying? And I guess you can get into to the financial side where you need a lot of advice or whatever. But hey, real estate gonna hold its own with any with any profession. And the great thing about it, compared to all those others, you don't have to spend 10 years of your life learning it. You can learn it in a matter of a week and be educated more than 97% of the population.
Awesome. How would I find a vacant homes owner?
The first thing you want to do is just courthouse records. The tax bill has to go somewhere. Now, some states have privacy laws and they don't. It's not public information, but in most states, it's public information. You just start out through courthouse record through the tax assessor law. And that's what it's called in Alabama. You just find out where the tax bill is going. You know, that's your starting point. It's going to show who owns the property, but also where the tax bill is going.
All right. Does having a real estate license make wholesaling any easier?
It can if you have the right mindset about it. If you go by the way they train you as a realtor, you have to squash all of that. Having access to MLS, I guess it could be a benefit. I don't use it, and I can get access to a really good friend of mine. She's a realtor, and she'll let me, but I've never even used her information to open it up. So that's a hard question. I don't like to be under anyone's thumb or whatever. That's why I have a job. You're somewhat under someone's thumb, the state, number one, then your broker or whatever, and then your client. You're somewhat under three thumbs there. But I may not have an objective opinion about that, so I may be the wrong person to ask.
All right. If you're are you willing to share what your salary was your first year wholesaling?
I think I did. I think I did about 60,000. I think. I don't. I really don't remember.
Okay. Do you use a real estate attorney for advice?
I don't.
Do you have anybody working for you, or do you juggle flipping by yourself?
Everything by myself. What I do is not that complicated. I just bring others in, or others come to me, or however our relationship is formed, and we all just benefit, together. Depending on what I need from them or what they need from me to answer your question. But I'm not saying that's the way to go about it. You just ask a question about me. It's just not that complicated for me, or whatever. Some days I only leave home just to go get something to eat because I don't cook for real. And I'm back at home just online, just doing what I do. As far as looking for deals, contracts, making offers, whatever. So research, a combination of it all.
As an example, what would the median price be for single-family homes that would make good wholesale deals in your market, Ty?
Depends on what part of town you're talking about. You're talking about the hood. I need them probably under 10 grand. A little bit above that, I probably need them 40. 40. Well, 30,000 or less. It just depends. A little bit above that, I need them 60,000. It just goes on and on. It's hard for me to answer that question because it just depends on what neighborhood you're dealing in. It's really see stuff like that. That stuff realtor. That's the way their mind thinks. We just look for deals. The deal just has to justify where it is, the condition. If you can get enough equity in it, you can make money. It's really just that simple. Uh-oh.
All right. Do you have a realtor check comps in the area so you know what price to negotiate?
No, I don't. No, I don't. No. I teach you how to do that yourself. See, guys, it's too much free information online. You don't need a realtor for anything. Even when you're going to target properties that are listed, you don't need a realtor for that. You contact the realtor that has the listing. you want to use the greed of humans in your favor. You want that agent to be able to get 100% of the commission. So now that increases. It still don't mean you're going to get a deal, but it increases your opportunity to get a deal. Darren and I use that on commercial brokers on a daily basis. We don't have a broker working for us. We contact the broker that has the listing. Because realtors have to split commission. If I had my agent to contact them, they have to split the commission that's for that particular person. So if you contact them directly, I don't have an agent, so they have an opportunity to keep all the money. So now when they go back to the seller, they be like, hey, we might want to do this. They're not really thinking about their client. They're thinking about, hey, I can make, instead of making 30,000 this deal, I can make 60. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, you really don't need an agent for anything, in my opinion. There's just too much free information out there.
Yeah, and they gonna make things more difficult too, probably.
Oh yeah, because they have their own interest at heart. You know, that's the thing. This is what you have to realize about an agent. You're trying to make money, and you're going to make decisions based on what's going to be in your favor. Agents are going to do the same thing. That's a non-professional. Yeah, right. You're going to make decisions, whether you're conscious of it or not, in your favor. The more money that the property sells for, the more money the agent or the broker makes. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to try to keep the price as high as possible. They don't look at it that you're an investor and you can be a repeat buyer, and they make their money through volume. They look at it on a transaction by transaction basis. Not all, but most. So as you can tell, I don't have a strong opinion on agents. So I'm not the most objective people, but I think I'm speaking some truth here. It's just the psychology of it.
Right. Okay. Eric, you need to clarify, I guess. You said, do you use business brokers for? Just resubmit the question, Eric. Brenda asks, what about virtual wholesaling?
It's possible, but with residential, it's very difficult. Now, Darren and I, we focus on commercial properties all over the country. It's easier to do those, especially the ones that we target, because the seller's normally not in that city, the broker's normally not in that city, and the buyer's not normally in that city. So they never even ever meet. Whereas with a residential property, your issues with a virtual wholesaler is, and see, this is seminar talk, and I'm sure it can be done. But you're going to have some help in that city, because the seller and the buyer will likely be in that city and you want. What keeps them from meeting? That's a huge part of deals getting blowed up in your face, is when the seller and buyer meet and you're not present. So as a virtual wholesaler, if you don't have someone on the ground in that market, residential now, it's very difficult to do. I can walk someone through what needs to happen, but again, I know they need someone in that market to help keep the buyer and the seller apart, because no buyer is going to buy a house in most cases without seeing it. Commercial buyers will buy properties all the time, never even go to the city. But residential, in most cases, the buyer is going to be local, and he's want to see the property. And the seller is going to probably be the only one that can show him the property without you being there. And you're in another market, or 3-4 hours, or 10, 12, whatever hours away. It's just difficult, but it's possible. I'm just telling you, it's difficult. If you can't wholesale in your market, it's going to be very difficult for you to wholesale in another market. People get this impression, oh, I can't do it here, there's too much competition, blah, blah. Do people get divorced in your city? Do people lose their jobs? Do people relocate? Do people get sick? Do people die? Do people rent property? They're tired of the rental business. This exists in every market. Get that out of your head. You cannot do it in your market. You can do it in your market. If you can succeed in your market, then worry about another market. Succeed in your market first.
Right. So you have you have never had never had any legal issues since you've been in this business?
Yeah, I am. Yes, to answer your question, I had a lady, a lease option lady that tried to sue me. I've had another couple that actually pressed charges against. Yes, yeah, it's happened, and that's all on the lease option side. That's one of the reasons I don't like personally fooling with it. It just can go bad so fast, and it ain't none of it's your fault. None of it's your fault.
Okay. Hey, fellas. So how will my next step after ListSource be calling, knocking, or sending a letter to the homeowners? From Brandon.
Well, yeah, well, that's the purpose of you buying the list, and so you can mail out to that list, and you entertain calls from there. People say door knocking. If you got that type of hustle about you, it's better than not doing anything. I don't suggest it because of you can be a little bit more efficient with your time and resources. But if you don't have any money and you got a little gas money, if you want to go door knock, then hey, make it happen. If you that gator, I know the first no I got, I'll be ready to go home and get in the fetal position.
All right. So Brandon also asks, when flipping wholesale deals, do I use an assignment contract and assign it to the next investor? Then to follow this up, Winston also asks, do you do double closings when you do your deals? Just kind of explain that.
Uh, say that again. I'm sorry.
All right. Do you do an assignment contract or should you do a double closing?
I always do assignments. I only am actually doing assignment contracts. Sellers use the same contract. Well, it's the same contract, but two different contracts being filled. The same contract being filled out separately twice. One for the seller, one for the buyer. The difference between the two is how I get paid. Now, sometimes I've had attorneys, they'll create an assignment contract right there at the closing, and you sign it, then or whatever. But to answer your question, I've only done a double close once, and that was by mistake.
All right. Eric asks, so do you use business brokers for commercial leads?
No, we not to this point. We haven't. It's just too much free information out there. If you know how to sift through it, just too much free information. The internet guys have made a lot of opportunities that were not available to just regular blowjos like myself and others. It makes it makes it a lot easier to get information and to actually put it into motion. That's what we're doing right now. This is all internet generated. It is. I don't know what the telephone was like when it was invented back in the early 1900s, but it had to feel like this. Well, what you think about it, Darren?
Yeah, I think so, man. It's just the internet. See, mostly, like even most of the questions here, most of the questions and most of the way people think in this world is based on things from 30 to 40 to 60 years ago. They like you literally have to just make your brain change. Like all of the questions I'll ask, like it's so simple to do everything in this world because you got the internet for one, and then for two, it's so easy. You can send people an email, you can make a phone call. Like it's just so easy to do things if you think it's easy. If you think it's simple, if you think it's easy as hell. Like if I wanted to be a baker, I would just go on YouTube. Like I don't have to know how to bake at all. I can go on YouTube and I can watch 1,000 videos. And in 4 days, I can be a master baker by just following the directions. It's the same thing right now. Like before the internet, you literally have to go to one of those real meetings, or you have to find some investor that was actually investing. Now with the internet, you can just hop on a webinar, a flipinar, and you know what to do. Like how, like it's simple. You only complicate it in your brain. Like it's that easy. And with the internet, it's everything. Like a real estate agent, you know more how to do. Like a real estate agent don't know how to use ListSource. Like what Flipman teaching a real estate agent not going to know how to do. Like so, it's just. But people think because that's how you used to have to do things. It's a new world. It's a new world. Each and every day, it's a new world. It's getting newer, newer, and newer. Like it's the crazy stuff out there what technology's doing. So if you want to be on the front end of that, and you got an opportunity now to just jump ahead and use all this information what Flip Man telling you. It's all there. It's just using all of it.
Say it well, sir.
Yeah,
What
I mean,
else?
I hear it every day, man. People ask me that all the time. So yeah, it's
Well,
like
man,
it's
Google is your friend. YouTube is your spouse.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy the things you
YouTube is
could.
your spouse.
It's crazy. It's just like me and Flip Man. Like I know him because I was looking for information and different stuff like that, and I was just like, man, I looked on YouTube. I'm like, man, he had his number on there. I'm like, let me call this guy. Let me tell him what I could do for him. I didn't say, hey, let me go pay $100,000 to go to some seminar and let them sell me more coaching. I'm like, let me call this dude. Like, he a real person. Ain't nothing different from him than any of us. So I called him. And what happened? We're sitting here today. This was my way of helping them. We're able to do commercial deals. We all have value. You just have to understand your value. That's all it is. Like, just like this stuff. Your value in doing these deals is you getting this deal cheap enough so someone else will want to do it. It's not a hard thing at all. It's like, is it enough value? Does it make sense? Okay, cool. Sign right here. Let's see. Still there, Flip Man?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. Well, back to the questions. Not to let me get off on these tangents. If you're not able to unload a property you have under contract in 30 to 45 days, will using private money lenders be an alternative option to purchase, or should you just let the property go and move on?
If you're a wholesaler, you let it go. If you're trying to buy properties, do something else with that's a whole nother ball game. But if you're a wholesaler, you just let it go. Again, you ask for more time, they give it to you. Ask for more time, they don't. So you ride that wave depending on what their response is.
All right, Camelia, I went to the probate office when doing my due diligence. I sometimes come across phone numbers. Should I call or still send letters? If they're motivated, they won't hang up on me, I guess.
And if they hang up on you, that means they were not motivated. So yeah, you want anytime you can get that's what we were just talking about. In the 1900s, phones in 1800 phones didn't exist. Well, I don't know when happened to Thomas. What's his name? Bell invented the phone, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Alexander Graham Bell.
Yeah, Alexander. Yeah, exactly. Hey, before he invented the telephone, you had to send it by mail. So once a phone got there, so if that option existed, you could contact someone. You pick up the phone and call them. You're gonna always do that over mail. Now, what I would do, even though I talk to them on the phone, you still can pop something in the mail to them. Just because that conversation you had with them that day, 3 days that it takes for them to get the mail, hey, who knows? The wife told, I don't want you anymore. I'm divorcing you. Hey, he need to get it. They need to get his stuff and get him, cause he know what's about to happen. So who knows, man? You know what I'm saying? So you follow with that piece of mail, and he may not even know it was you that he talked to on the phone, but because you mailed him something, he just may have a different attitude. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, awesome. James asks, how transparent are you with the seller? Do you wait until closing to disclose the deal? Just want to know how to play it.
I don't ever tell them nothing. They don't care. They're not just like you on this Flippanor right now, and you're on this Flippanor right now, and you got questions. Imagine trying to explain wholesaling to a seller in 5 minutes. They're going to politely hang up on you or escort you off their property. There's no reason to. The only thing that matters is that you perform. They will not care. They will be in closing, talking to your buyer, everybody hee-hawing, laughing. It's happy time. On closing day, it's happy time. Everybody's getting what they want out the deal. They do not care.
It's just like this. It's how many of you all know how the computer you watching this on work or the telephone. You probably don't. You have no clue. You don't care. Only thing you care about is it cut on and you're able to watch the flippinar. That's the same thing with this. The seller don't care as long as they get their check. Like it's just simple business. Like nobody get, like we do it everything like in everyday life we do it. When you go to McDonald's or wherever you go to eat, you're not like, oh, I wonder how they put this burger and made it into a patty. You're like, no, just give me my order in 3 minutes and I'm fine. So that's the same thing. Okay, here we go. Isaac asks, I still don't understand the difference between the double close and assignment. If I go to the assignment route, do I need an assignment contract also? I thought they were basically the same. You just sell your contract to the buyer. What's different in a double closing?
A double closing is actually two closings. You have a closing where you and the seller sit down and close, and you then you'll have another closing where you and the buyer sitting down and close. When it's just an assignment, all three of you all are sitting there. The seller and the buyer sign the necessary documents to turn the property over to the seller. To the buyer, and the closing attorney or title agent will pass the seller a check, and they'll pass you an assignment check. That's the difference.
All right, so do you pay closing costs 2 times?
On a double close, some will charge you double. They may give you a discount on a double close.
Okay. All right. So can this happen in any market? Shit is happening in every market.
Oh, it's happening. Can it happen? It's happening. Hey, that's just like saying, do we have running water in every market? Yes, it's happening in every market. You're just not a part of it. You're just not drinking the running water, but it's running. Oh, it's happening in every market. I didn't invent this. The information I listened to when I started was from 1997. That was 2003, and this is wholesaling has been around since real estate. So that goes back to I guess caveman day. Whenever transactions started happening, some guy knew that hey, this is the way. This is the way I heard it from somebody that I really admire. Hey, you find out where the money is and find out where it's going. You stand in the middle of those two. In real estate terms, the motivated seller is where the money is. The cash buyer is where it's going. You stand in the middle, controlling it with a contract with the motivated seller. And the cash buyer moves you out of the way. Happily, I will move out of the way for 4, 5, and 6 figure paydays.
Right. That's it. That's what it's all about, man. This America was built on middleman markets. Everything is a middleman market. Walmart, they're the middleman in the transaction. They just because they control the consumer. Brenda asks, so what are you telling them you're doing under contract?
Say that again.
What are you telling them you're doing under contract? I guess the seller and the seller. What are you telling the seller when you're doing under contract?
I'm telling them I'm buying their property. Oh, that's what the contract says. It's a purchase and sales agreement.
Right. Okay. William asks, what's the flip man's best month? The number of properties.
I maybe done 11 once.
Awesome. Great illustrations. Do you use the same title company for every deal?
No, I've bounced around over the years. See, your buyers, a lot of times your buyers dictate that.
Awesome. Have you had any issues with all parties at the closing table together? I would think the owner would question the numbers on the closing docs.
No, they don't, because they're getting the money we agreed upon that they were going to get. Why would they question it? We said
Right.
you were going to make 25,000. That's what you walk away with. Now, it may be a
Right.
little called the taxes, but I explained that whenever we're doing the contract. Sometimes it's actually more than what they agreed about because of taxes, because they've already paid them. They get a prorated amount. That'll vary from state to state, but they don't question it because they're getting what we agreed upon. People don't. You got to understand, these people are motivated to sell, man. They don't care. You're not going to get a deal that makes sense where you can make money off of unless the person is motivated. You gotta eliminate all those thoughts. That stuff is just holding you back. They don't care.
Yep. It's just like this. If Flipman sold me a piece of bubble gum at 5 cents, would he care if I sold it for $1?
Yeah,
He sold it to me.
I sold it to you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now,
he don't care what I sold it for.
Yeah, I might want to figure out down the road if I get a hold of another piece, if I can sell it for $1 also. But that one is gone. Again, while we're going to the next question, one spot available. It's still available. Nobody's taking it yet. TheFlipman.com. You get all 3 courses with the unlimited coaching. You save $15.95. Not going to beat that deal.
Right. Okay, they see what you're. Okay. So your free contract, do you bring both contracts to closing? And said, can you use that contract in any state also?
Well, now contracts. My contract has been used all over, but you go so many directions with that. Guys, once you get to the paperwork, you got a seller and buyer in place, or you just got a seller. You and a seller can literally write up a contract on a napkin sitting in Hooters. If you're not performing anything illegal, it's a binding agreement or whatever. Now, obviously, contracts can be more complicated. Darren and I are trying to do a deal on a commercial property, and we've agreed on the terms after the letter of intent. The broker sends over a 40-page contract, 40 pages, right? We already had another contract that another broker sent over that we liked on another deal, and it's only 10 pages, so we sent them that back. They don't want to use that. So I just told Darren, just tell them, hey, just create your contract, but use our terms in that 40-page contract. What in the world could possibly be said in 40 pages? But to answer your question, it can go all over the place. There's no big deal about that part of it. I know you need to know that, but to answer your question, my one-page contract works. If you're not comfortable with that, you can always just use the standard realtor's contract in your market. You can call you may have to call 1 or 5. You can call and act like you're interested in a property. They send you over a contract. Before you get to a project, just ask them to send you over a contract for you to review. And, bam, you got one. You can use that one forever.
Okay, awesome. Any more questions here before we give away the course? Any more questions? Okay, here we go. If you are just starting out, you may want to sign a flex contract with other wholesalers to find buyers for their hard-to-sell wholesale deals in return for a split of profits. If the wholesaler finds the buyer first, your flex contract expires and the wholesaler owes you nothing. I guess that was a statement, not a question.
I guess it was a statement, yeah. I guess it was a statement.
All right. This Charisma said, it sure does. Every deal I've used, Flipman contract. Boom, it works. It's just that simple.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
we almost 2 hours in tonight. Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
end it up tonight. Let's go ahead and end it up.
All right. Let's go ahead and get a question. You want me to give two away for the people on the phone, two away people that's on the computer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right, let's go. All right. So the first one on the phones is 386-336-6523 is the telephone number.
Wait a minute.
This is you.
Repeat that again.
Okay. You want them to text you, right?
Yeah, I want him to text me. Yeah, but go ahead and repeat
Okay.
that.
So, all right, it's 386 336 6523. I'll send it to you right here too. 386 386 33
I mean 336. Uh huh.
Yes, sir. 336 6523. I just sent it to you.
All
All
right.
right. Next one. On the phones again. 901
Memphis, Tennessee.
691 2617. 901 691 2617.
All right. Now the ones that you call out the name that on the chat, make them give the last four of their phone number when you call out their name. So
Okay.
I won't get hoodwinked.
691 All right. So if I call out your name and you're on the actual computer or whatever in the chat, you can send Flipman a private message. Just send the last four of your number. All right. Now let's go. Let's see here. All right. Let's go. All right. Mario Allen. Mario Allen. You're on Mario Allen. Send Flipman a private message on the chat.
Tell them to send it to
And
you. I can't see anything.
okay, well send it to me.
Yeah.
Send me a private message on the chat. And you said the last four of your number. Okay, here we go. Right here. Do you see that, Flipman?
Yeah, he said the whole number, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
What
He about his business. I like that.
is his number? What is it?
I'll send it to you.
Uh,
All right.
let's get 678 something. 472 wasn't it? Some.
Yes. 472-8003.
All right. Okay. All right.
All right. Brandon. Send me a private message, Richard. Okay, look, Brandon, quick. Great job, Brandon. All right. Brandon. All right. And then also send
What is 3737?
yeah, send Flipman a text also, Brandon. And he'll have you. So congratulations to everyone. It's great. Happy December. I tell everyone. Someone was asking about, and we'll close. I guess I'll close with this. Someone was asking about if I was a student. Also, I consider myself a student of life. I read probably 60, 70 books a year. tons of different things. I met Flipman because I wanted to learn a lot about this and see what me and him could do together. And he's an expert. He's just not selling tickets. This is full-time life. So I close with this. I tell everyone December's the best month of the year because nobody else is working. So if you're the one person that's working, you're doing extra work, you're going to win. And that's what it's all about, is it's taking the time to get educated, that the other people not getting educated, and then putting that information to work, taking action on it, doing it over and over. Me and Flipman doing deals, putting some commercial deals on it right now, but it's mostly because we've been working. He did a lot of work finding them. I did a lot of work. I stayed top of mind. I call these guys every day. I send them emails every day. I'm always following up so they know how serious we are. We're not playing about this. So that's the same thing with this, man. If someone if Flipman, y'all see all his videos, that's work. That's him working. He doing videos all the time. That's him working. He doing these webinars. That's work. So, that's what it is. It's not about knowing exactly what to do. It's just outworking the next person. He about to go watch the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they got two rookies that's dominating, but they're working. So I'll leave it there. Whatever you got to say, Flipman, let's close it out.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I'm glad everyone. This is the longest one we've had. Hopefully, the information was useful. The questions that were answered will help others and the ones that asked the questions. Tell your friends, family. I'm going to post this on YouTube by tomorrow. You can share, tweet it, post it on Instagram. I'm sorry, not Instagram, but Facebook. Too long for Instagram. But again, one spot, theflipman.com, $10.95. You're saving $15.95, getting all three courses. Wholesaling houses and apartments, along with flipping vacant commercial buildings. What else can you ask for? So we'll see you on the next Flipinar. And see you on the flip side. Thanks.